yes, we'll be talking about the Labour car tax. And yes, the reason why we're talking about because we all know that there's an agenda on automobiles. They're trying to get us to stop driving. Oh gosh, man. Yep. Yeah, of course there's an agenda, and it's also not just New Zealand, it's also worldwide as well. And the reason why I'm talking about that because we know that we don't want to have to pay extra money just to buy a new car or a used car or something. And also there's another way what Labour is doing. It's also lowering speed limits. And yes, they're lowering speed limits. They're deciding what speed you should drive at. And yes, I'm also for safe driving and that though, and yes, there's also ways to drive safely at those speeds, and people normally drive naturally to the conditions and that, and you know what the road engineering use, what speed limits should be set, and that usually can be done at the 85th percentile. That's how speed limit should be set, based on the results of the 85th percentile, not on government design because of climate change or CO2 breathing out of that, because we're polluting too much of it. And yes, we know that pollution is the issue, and we know what is one of the biggest polluters in New Zealand, dog, here, because he's raining 1080 on the forest and that, and of course it's also killing non-target species like kiwis and that, redders, and there's also ways of like dealing with invasive pests as well. There's ways of doing that. I drove on the State Highway 1 in New Zealand heading towards Whangarei, and speed I am driving at the speed limit, people, and this is 100 kilometers an hour. And the max speed used to be 100, but it has been raised on some parts of New Zealand, like on the motorway south of Hamilton, which is 110 kilometers an hour, which is awesome though. Yeah, because being able to have the privilege to drive at those speeds is awesome. And cars are built well, they're safer than ever before. And I know. And yes, I am for reducing car dependency, but I also support the people who want to also own the cars they choose. Because then there's a YouTuber called Not Just for Bikes, and I do watch some of those videos and they're awesome. And I actually came across like car sharing. And that's over in the Dutch country, the Netherlands, over in the Dutch country, car sharing and that. And which that would be a good idea, and especially people who don't actually like drive a lot and that, car sharing would be pretty useful. Because that way you'll actually look for a car when you need a car, and when you no longer live, then someone else will actually, it can be used to be back for someone else who will need a car. And yeah, I know you people are going to say, oh, you support Agenda 21. Well, no, I ain't against Agenda 21. I ain't against the idea of it. The idea of Agenda 21 or Agenda 2030. I'm against the idea of it. Because it's about removing you off your lane and putting you into jam-packed cities. I ain't against that. And of course, yeah. And I actually been to Auckland like about a month ago, and man, when I drive around those suburbs, the shopping is pretty far away, and man, gosh, you need a car to get around in that area. You actually need a car because all the shops and that is quite far away, cabs and that. You have to get a car to actually just go and get a cup of coffee. So, and man, it's really annoying though. You had to rely on a car that you just to get from places that you really need to get to. It's like in Europe and that, I've heard that. Because when I actually when I was chatting to a Swedish woman who was from Switzerland, and man, although you had to be 18 to drive over there, but she had told me that you can get around just fine without a car. It's just to know that because of all the public transport you can get around. It's just like making owning a car privilege rather than necessary. That means if you want to own a car there, that's fine. It's okay. It's up to you. And we all know that is definitely not for making New Zealand better, and the fact that she doesn't actually even do anything for New Zealand. She is there, she is there elected by the few, the oligarchies to destroy the economy, to undermine to destroy, and also at least undermine the economy, at least what John B had done when he was elected. And yes, John Key was a trade to New Zealand, but so is Jacinda Ardern. Both National and Labour, they're actually in bed together. They're in bed together. So people in there's a website called the Taxpayer Union, and I will link it there as well, so you can go and sign the petition if you're a New Zealander, especially because so you actually will also get a sticker there by sent to a mailbox if you're looks like there's an accident at the scene, a car fell into a ditch. Gosh, boy. And yes, people, yes, if you're a New Zealander and you haven't watched my videos though, man, you do sign the Taxpayer Union petition, yeah, Taxpayer Union, and yes, also I can get one sent to my mailbox as well, because I do support the cause of stopping the Labour car tax. And I heard she wants to stop, like, I think it's by 2035, she wants to stop petrol car import. Saying, oh, no, we can't have those dirty cars on our streets. And of course, the electric cars and that though, and they're more expensive, mate, because they had to mine the lithium and that though. You know who mines the lithium? Child labour. Yes, child labour. Child labour in Africa mining lithium. Just for your electric cars, and you know that that was the one that's using a lot of lithium, because man, you need a lot of batteries for to run a car. useless, what's going to happen to those batteries? They're just going to get tossed in the landfill. Is there any way of recycling it? Let me know in the comments below, because man, you know, I also heard those batteries are very expensive to replace. You know, I heard from I think it was mentioned on Terry Upine's video as well. And also I think from Audio Expert Australia as well. So and those both were missing leaf owners. Yes, they were missing leaf owners. And man, to actually even get a new battery plastic, you have to like pay tens of thousands of dollars to actually get a new battery replaced in your car. Gosh, that is expensive. That is insanely expensive. It's probably even not worth paying for a new battery though. Yeah, if you actually do want to get an electric car, man, buy it brand new. If you're gonna buy it second hand, it's a mistake. Yeah, buy it brand new. And me, I ain't gonna stick to my petrol car. I know it's gonna require maintenance and that though. And but it's only cost like a few $100s or so. Compared like getting a battery replaced though, that's in the tens of thousands. Even getting a gearbox replaced is cheaper than that. Which you probably will be around from $2,000 to $5,000. Or probably even beyond. Depends what kind of car you have. Well, people, I might actually do make a video about it. I might even do a podcast about it. And any further ado, I'll have a link about I'll do have a link about the taxpayer union site. There's a petition on there, stop the Labour tax review in New Zealand though. And again, so you should go and sign that, and also have a sticker sent to as well. And also, I'll be linking the videos about the missing lift when I try and get a battery replaced or something. I'll have a link down here below. Also to Terry Upine's video as well. And he actually mentioned about the electric car, the car tax as well. I think there's one from Damien De Ment. Yes, we're going to that as well. And I'll go and watch those as well. And any further ado, I think this is all I got actually say for now. This is Matthew Miller, the Middle Kiwi, signing off, over and out.